Hey everybody, it's Pito, aka PT Sports 84. Doing another video. We've got the fourth official ratings update for NBA 2K23. Also, a big surprise today. We got a ton of new retro content added to 2K23. So I'm going to dive in real quick and go through the ratings update and get everybody up to speed on everything. What's up, Carrie? Hey, like we got retro content, Carrie. Like I know you're a big retro guy, so we got some players added to different rosters and things like that. I'm going to go through that in just a few minutes. Just want to get through the um, ratings portion of the updated rosters, stuff like that. So, um, getting right to it, of course, we start with the 76ers. Small update for the Sixers. Really not much here. Georges Niang goes to a 77 overall plus one. PJ Tucker down one to a 75. Saban Lee gets dropped to a 72 overall minus two. Um, not much, like I said, for the Sixers. I thought for sure Embiid would go up one to a 97, but I guess they didn't, feel the need to update him there. Milwaukee Bucks. Bobby Portis Jr. goes plus one. He gets a position change to center from previously being at power forward. Pat Connaughton also gets a position change to shooting guard small forward, goes minus one to a 75. And then Jordan Nwora gets a position change to small forward, power forward. No rating change for him. Chicago Bulls, Zach LaVine continues to drop, goes minus one to an 84. Nick Vucevic goes plus one to an 83. Position changes for Alex Caruso and Derrick Jones Jr. As well. Goran Dragic goes minus one to a 75, and then minus one for Kobe White to a 74. Cleveland Cavaliers, Darius Garland goes minus one to an 86. Plus one for Evan Mobley to an 85. Kevin Love minus two to a 79. Position change to power forward. Caris LeVert, position change to shooting guard. Robin Lopez goes minus one to a 74. And then position change for Isaac Okoro. What's up, Tyler? Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Thank you. I try to do these updates as much as they're significant. A lot of times you'll see these roster updates for the current rosters. It's just like accessories or some added shoes or just a small position change or injuries. Nothing worth noting to really dive into anything video wise. Like, I'm not somebody that I like to create clickbait content, so I only put out videos whenever there's significant stuff. So appreciate the love. Jayson Tatum, position change to power forward. Jaylen Brown gets a position update to small forward. I got to change one thing. I already posted these if everybody wants to see the written form on Operation Sports. I forgot to take out that Jaylen Brown had gone up in the last update. He did not get a ratings update per the anybody that already looked at Operation Sports. He's still at a 90 overall. Malcolm Brogdon gets a position change to shooting guard. Al Horford goes minus one to an 80. Minus one for Grant Williams to a 77. Blake Griffin goes plus one to a 76. Plus one for Luke Cornett to a 76. And then Sam Hauser goes plus two to a 74. We go to the Clippers. John Wall gets an upgrade, plus two to a 81. Norman Powell goes plus one to a 79. I don't understand what Ivica Zubac has to do to go up in rating. I'm not sure why he's not being touched at all, but minus one for Marcus Morris Sr. To a 77, plus one for Terrence Mann to a 77, plus a position change to small forward. Luke Kennard gets a position update to shooting guard. Moses Brown gets a upgrade plus one to a 73, minus one for Amir Coffey to a 72. Thought that Nick Batum might go up in this update, but he did not. We go over to the Memphis Grizzlies. We've got position changes for David Roddy and Jake LaRavia. They swap positions. I thought David Roddy might go up in overall, but he did not. Brandon Clark didn't go up. I thought he was another one that was a candidate to go up. Who did go up, though, was Santi Aldama to a 78. And then a small boost for Tyus Jones +2 to a 79. He's really been playing well, one of the best backup point guards, in my opinion, in the NBA. Go over to the Atlanta Hawks. We get an upgrade for Clint Capella +1. Finally, we get a big upgrade for DeAndre Hunter. He goes +3 to a 79. Finally, get an update to him. It's been a while for him to get upgraded. AJ Griffin goes +1 to a 77. Position change for Frank Kaminsky to center. No ratings change. We also have Trent Forrest changing positions to shooting guard. He gets a +2 to a 73. Jarrett Culver gets a position change to power forward, +2 for him. And then Tyrese Martin gets a position change to shooting guard. No change to his overall. Miami Heat, Haywood Highsmith goes +2 to a 70. Nikola Jovic goes +1 to a 74. We've got Max Strus going -2 to a 76. Kyle Lowry drops down to an 80, -1 for him in this update. Tyler Hero goes +1 to a 84. And then last but not least, Jimmy Butler goes -1 to a 92. We go over to the Charlotte Hornets. Much needed upgrade for Terry Rozier, goes +2 to an 82 overall. Kelly Oubre goes +2 as well to an 81 overall. Mason Plumlee goes +1 to a 78. And then Teo Maledon goes +2 to a 74. Over to the Utah Jazz. I thought that Jordan Clarkson would get a little upgrade, but he did not in this one. Kelly Olynyk did get an upgrade, +1 to a 79. Talen Horton-Tucker goes -1 to a 76. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has been playing really well over the last, 7 games. So he goes +2 to a 74. And then Simone Fontecchio goes to a 74 +2 for him. Sacramento Kings, Domantas Sabonis has really been playing well. Lately, he goes +1 to an 87. -1 for De'Aaron Fox, who struggled before last night. Now, take into account that last night's games are not counted towards these ratings. These are for games basically from November 30th through December 13th. That's what they're counting these games, like the overall updates on. Terrence Davis goes +1 to a 78. Keegan Murray goes +1 to a 77. +1 for Chimezie Metu to a 76 as well. New York Knicks, a couple big upgrades for them. Well, one downgrade. Jalen Brunson goes -1. But Julius Randle goes +2 to an 85, now tied for the best on the team. RJ Barrett goes +1 to an 84 overall. Emmanuel Quickley goes +1 to a 79, while Derrick Rose drops 1 to a 78. Jericho Sims goes +1 to a 74. Position update for Cam Reddish. He's back to small forward. And then last but not least, Daquan Jeffries gets an update to small forward for his position as well. Next up, the Los Angeles Lakers. No drop for LeBron. He's still, right there for one of the best players in the NBA. I thought he could go -1, but I guess 2K thinks differently. Anthony Davis does go +1 to a 94. No upgrade for Russell Westbrook again. Don't know what else he needs to do to get a bump to an 80. Lonnie Walker IV, 78 overall, +1, gets a position update to small forward. Austin Reeves also goes to a 78, +2, position change to shooting guard. And then Patrick Beverley gets an update to his position. He's shooting guard, -1 to a 75. Kendrick Nunn goes -2 to a 73. Last but not least, +2 for Wenyen Gabriel to a 73. Next up, the Orlando Magic. Paolo Banchero goes +1 to an 84. Franz Wagner gets his upgrade finally, +2 to an 83. Markelle Fultz goes +1 to a 78. He's now tied with Cole Anthony as the leading point guard on the team, ratings-wise. Mo Wagner gets an upgrade, much-needed upgrade. He's been playing really well, +2 to a 77. Mo Bamba also gets an upgrade to 77 overall. And then last but not least on the team, Admiral Schofield gets an upgrade to a 70 overall. Not sure why RJ Hampton was not dropped. He's been playing terrible. He's been relegated to the G League. I thought he could have dropped to like a 73, and that would have been just fine. But again, 2K thinks differently. No upgrade again for Maxi Kleber. No upgrade for Jaden Hardy either. We do get a boost to JaVale McGee, who had a couple games to where he was playing well. I would have stayed with the 76, so he's tied with Dwight Powell, but that's just me. Finally get an upgrade for Tim Hardaway Jr. He also gets a position upgrade to small forward. He goes +3 to a 78. That's the only changes there for the Dallas Mavericks ratings-wise, but two position changes. Both Josh Green and Frank Ntilikina are moved to shooting guard. Brooklyn Nets, no upgrade for Kyrie, no upgrade Ben Simmons. TJ Warren did get a position update to small forward. Patty Mills bumps up +2 to a 76, -2 for Seth Curry to a 76. And then Edmund Sumner gets a +2 to 76. Then we go to Day'Ron Sharpe, +1 to a 74. And Markieff Morris finally gets an upgrade after a year of not being upgraded, goes +2 to a 74. No upgrade for Joe Harris, however. I thought he can get a bump to at least +1, but he did not. The Denver Nuggets get a couple guys upgraded at the top. Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon go +2 each to an 83. Ish Smith drops -1 to a 74. And then Vlatko Konchar gets a much-needed update, +2 to a 73. Indiana Pacers. 2K loves Tyrese Halliburton, +1 again for him, 89 overall. One of the top-tier point guards in 2K now, ratings-wise. Ben Mathurin goes -1 to an 80. Buddy Hield goes +1 to a 79. Position update to small forward. Andrew Nembhard gets one of the biggest movers for the team, or the biggest mover for the team, goes +3 to a 76 overall. He's been playing really well. +1 for Jalen Smith to a 76. Then we go all the way down to Aaron Nesmith. He goes +1 to a 72 with a position change to shooting guard. This is a huge mover. Zion Williamson +4, 92 overall. He is definitely now one of the best players in the game. It looks like they boosted his ball handling. We'll have to figure out what else. The Real 2K Insider is the one that really dives into ratings and badges, so hopefully he'll have a video out or at least a write-up of what badges change on Zion specifically. So look on Operation Sports on the thread that I made. Hopefully he'll have follow-up info once he can get to it. Trey Murphy III goes +1 to an 80 overall. I was a little surprised about Trey Murphy because he's actually been playing poor the last couple games. I thought he would go -1, but he did not. Jose Alvarado did go +2 to a 79. He's been playing really well. +1 for Larry Nance Jr. to a 78. Najee Marshall also goes +1 to a 76. Not sure how Devontae Graham did not go down in this update. He's been playing awful lately, and basically his role has been taken by Dyson Daniels. Position change for Jackson Hayes. He's back to center. Detroit Pistons +1 for Bojan Bogdanovic to an 83. He's really been playing well for them -1 for Jaden Ivey to a 78. Sadiq Bey also -1 to a 78. Alec Burks +1 to a 78. Jalen Duren +1 to a 77. And then the long-awaited update, biggest mover in the entire update, +6 for Killian Hayes from a 70 to a 76. He's really been playing well. Surprisingly, they did not add any badges to him. And then Corey Joseph goes +1 to a 74. And then last but not least, a position change for Isaiah Livers, or Livers. I'm not sure how you say it, or how he pronounces it. He gets a position change to small forward. Toronto Raptors, +1 for Pascal Siakam, -1 for Scotty Barnes. No clue in the world how Fred VanVleet did not go down one to be in line with these guys right here, but he did not. Delano Banton gets a position change back to point guard. Houston Rockets, Kevin Porter Jr., 80 overall, +1. Jabari Smith, +1 to a 77. Kenyon Martin Jr., +1 to a 77. And then we've got Eric Gordon dropping again to a 74, -1. And then Bruno Fernando, +3 to a 74. San Antonio Spurs, Trey Jones, +1 to a 78. We've got Doug McDermott, position change to small forward. He also goes +1 to a 75. Isaiah Roby, -1 to a 74. Charles Bassey gets upgraded +1 to a 74. Romeo Langford goes +3 to a 73. Position change to shooting guard. And then Stanley Johnson was added to the roster. Elise Johnson was waived. Phoenix Suns, Devin Booker goes -1 to a 91. Chris Paul finally gets his downgrade, -2 to an 87. DeAndre Ayton gets an upgrade, +1 to an 85. Torrey Craig goes +1 to a 77. And then Damian Lee goes +1 to a 76. Last but not least, Josh Okogie, who's been playing well lately, goes +3 to a 74. We've got the OKC Thunder. Alexei Pokashevsky, position change back to power forward. He goes +1 to a 79. Jeremiah Robinson Earl. What's up, T-Coast, Skills Gaming, Brian K. What's going on, everybody? For some reason, these all just popped up at once. I don't know what's up with the messenger chat thing today, but what's up, everybody? Appreciate you tuning in as always. Jeremiah Robinson Earl goes +1 to a 76. Jalen Williams goes +2 to a 75. I've got to update my sheet. I actually incorrectly put him at a 76. So give me just a second. I'm going to update that. I'm not sure how I messed that up, but he is only a 75. So he should be +2 there. They did not update his position. He should go actually back to small forward. What's up, Coach? What's up, Phelan? Kendrick Williams changes his position, or gets a position change to back to power forward. And then Isaiah Joe gets finally a much-needed upgrade. He goes +4 to a 73 overall. And Eugene Amarui goes +3 to a 71 with a position change to center. Minnesota, light on updates. Naz Reid +1 to a 77, and then D'Angelo Russell +1 to an 83. Portland Trailblazers, we finally get Jeremy Grant updated, +2 to an 84. He now matches Anthony Simons. I'm fine with that. A lot of people said 86 overall. I think that's a little bit overrated for him to be kind of like the third guy on the team. Damian Lillard does also go up. He goes +1 to a 91 overall. Then we get to the Golden State Warriors, -1 for Steph Curry to a 96. Klay Thompson goes +1 to an 85. He's now the second best player ratings-wise on the team. Draymond Green goes to an 83, -1. Kevon Looney finally gets a much-needed upgrade, +2 to a 77. +1 for Jonathan Kuminga to a 75. and then -1 for Ty Jerome to a 74. Last but not least, the Washington Wizards. Kristaps Porzingis goes +2. He's now tied with Bradley Beal for the best player on the team. Kyle Kuzma goes +1 to an 83 overall. Jordan Goodwin goes +2 to a 75. He's been playing really well lately. And then Will Barton, who struggled before last night. Like I said, the games last night did not count. He goes -2 to a 74. So that's all the updates for the current roster. Now the exciting part. What I enjoy is the retro content a lot. And 2K really hadn't been putting out updates after the beginning of the year. Like they really came out hot and heavy in September with retro updates, getting stuff fixed and all of that. They kind of had a lull with no updates for a while, things like that. As I'm talking, I'm just slowly going through the roster, just making sure I didn't miss anything in my notes as far as the classic teams, because I found quite a bit of stuff for the Eras rosters. So just want to make sure I didn't miss anything retro wise here. Let's see. Just double checking. Just bear with me here for a moment. Just double checking my notes. Okay. So we got John Long finally updated with his updated face. Remember before I said that it was a generic face? That 2K really needed to get that updated in there. He's updated, so that's good there. Then we've got going over to, let's see, Darrell Walker's in there. He was in there in the last update. Just making sure we got everybody. They missed some things still, so I still got to get some more feedback notes over, but I just wanted to double check as I'm going through, make sure I didn't miss anything as far as players added to the rosters for the classic teams. There's going to be a few players added to the Eras teams, as you'll see as I go through them. So just want to take my time to make sure I didn't miss anything as far as these go. Okay. Let's see. Still didn't update Carl Herrera where he's from. Let's see. Get sure to look. Okay, so they did update correctly Raja Bell. They got the lighter skin tone with the tattoos, that version. They updated it here on the 2000-2001 Sixers. Finally got that one in. So that was one that I was complaining about for a while. Unfortunately, they didn't pay attention because they did not update Raja Bell on 02-03 Dallas. Not sure why, but yeah, Hugo. Yeah, Carl Herrera. The thing about Carl Herrera, though, he went to Jacksonville College, but you could have even put Houston College, and then that would have sufficed with me rather than Venezuela. So he went to both. So I mean, you could have put either. You could put either one, and I would have been fine with that because he went to both. But anyway, just going through, double checking. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. They did upgrade the rating for Joe Johnson here. He's now an 81. A lot of people complained about that previously, that he was not updated in the game. Just going through. I'm doubting that they added anybody that I missed here, but I like to just be thorough and double check everything. doesn't look like anything has been updated otherwise. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't look like anything else. Oops. Yeah, because like bigger names we would have noticed, like if Bellinelli was added or, things like that. So they didn't add anybody else. Nope. Nobody else for any of the rest of the classic teams. Okay. So now we go into the all-time teams, just double checking them. There's one big addition that I'll get to in a minute when we get to that particular team. Just making sure I didn't miss anybody because they can have these rated any kind of way, so I don't want to miss possibly somebody being added or like snuck in an update or something like that. Looks like they didn't add anybody to any of these. Okay. Lakers, they wouldn't have anybody unless you wanted to. I personally, if it was me for the Lakers, I would have added Pau Gasol and took out Anthony Davis, but a lot of people would probably push back on me on that. So, let's see. Nothing for the Nets. Nothing for Denver. Now we get to Ron Artest is back in 2K on the all-time Pacers. So now everybody can stop tweeting 2K because that was a big thing of like, why is Artest in my team and not available anywhere else? He is now back in the game on the all-time Pacers. He's also on the era rosters as well. So good to see that finally. Just double checking all the rest of the teams just to make sure. I would have liked to have seen Jose Calderon added to Toronto, but I guess they don't have the ability to add him for whatever reason, or feel like it's justified to add him, I should say. No Connie Hawkins for Phoenix. No Lenny Wilkins for OKC. Yeah, everybody else is still the same. All the other teams are still the same. Yep, all the other teams are still the same. All right. Now we go into the eras roster. Let's see what we got changes-wise for the eras roster. Nothing for the Sixers. Doesn't look like anything for the Bucks. Just looking at each of the teams. Nothing for the Washington Bullets. Doesn't look like anything for Chicago. Nothing for Cleveland. May not have a lot. I did not, just disclaimer, I did not go through 83 or 91. So I'm just doing this on my own like now. Finally, they took the face off for George Johnson. That's now updated. Because they don't have Dillard College in the available slots as far as available colleges or whatever, as far as a written name or anything like that, they put none, which I'm okay with that. Like, I'm fine They took the incorrect face scan off previously, so that's just fine with me. The way that they did that. So we've got, let's see, nobody for the Jazz. Just want to look through. Okay, yeah, no, nobody for the Kings either. We still don't have Mike McGee added to the game. Let's see. Nobody there. Rick Grant. That's a generic. George Johnson. Did they update him? Yep, 6'7". For the Pacers. So they updated his height correctly. Just looking through just to make sure I don't miss anybody. Nobody added there. Nobody there. They've got everybody. Yeah, they've got everybody added to the Portland already. That's it. I'm just going to check the coaches real quick. Let's see if they got anybody additional. I doubt it. Did they fix? Yep, they fixed Casey Jones finally. So his face is fixed. All right, let's jump over to 91 and look at that. Okay, looks like nobody for Sixers. Nobody an additional for them either. I don't think they added. Nope, they did not. They did not add Liddell Eccles. Hugo, I'll have to send that on my feedback list, college and all that stuff. Appreciate that. I even like missed that. I guess I haven't gone through and basically jotted down the changes because I know that like just looking at the roster that I did, I changed the ages or updated the ages as they were supposed to be appropriate. I'll have to put a massive feedback list for the eras together all at once, like ages, years pro, any kind of college or where they're from, like all that stuff, all in one document, and then send it so maybe it can be updated all at once. Let's see, just looking to see if there's anything additional for the 91 team. Anybody that's asking about Mark Price, that face would have to be updated in a patch. It can't be updated in a roster update. So just in case anybody throws that out there that needs to be fixed, that's why it's not fixed. They'd have to wait till the next patch if it makes the patch list. Gary Grant still not updated here. They need to fix that and get him his updated scan or updated artist render rather that was in on the Heat for 96-97 as well as 99-2000. Just looking through. Okay. No need to change on the classic teams. Okay. Tail Dog, what's up, man? Eh, Tail Dog, would you mind? Uh, could you DM me on Twitter and send me that? Um, just so I don't forget about the system proficiency, especially for Phil Jackson. Because I want to have that. I need to add that to my notes. I had it on my notes um, previously, but then when I condensed my notes down, I don't think that I had it on there. So that might have been why it didn't get updated. Um, yeah, for whatever reason, I don't know why when I copied it over, it didn't. I don't remember that being on my second set of notes that I condensed. Because back in September, they were fixing stuff left and right, and I was taking stuff off and adding more stuff, and somehow I got lost along the way. So, yeah, if you don't mind, just DM me that, and I'll that way I have a reminder. Um, just looking through, it doesn't look like much updated in this era. Okay. I would have loved to seen them update the trade for Billy Owens and Mitch Richmond because that trade happened like before the opening night of the season, but I guess not. Demetrius Caleb. Interesting. Anybody that watches Last Chance U basketball, the season 2 is out and it's really good on Netflix. His son, Demetrius Caleb II, is on the ELAC team. Man, if you are if you watch it, let me know what you think because man, that dude thinks he's a star already, and uh, you know, many of his teammates get frustrated with him and his maturity, things like that. Kerry, I'm gonna check that out to see if he's in that draft class. That's one thing I am gonna do. I'm gonna go to the draft classes next once I'm done with the 02-03 era. Looks like no change there. No change to Terry Mills. Terry Mills finally gets his updated render. Finally. So we got Terry Mills updated there. Good to see that. Did Winston Garland get updated? Yep, Winston Garland gets updated. So we've got updated renders for Garland and Mills. Been long awaiting that. Don't have anything there. Darrell Walker's still not updated for the Pistons. I didn't look at Darrell Walker for the Knicks. I'm going to assume he's not, but I'll double check it. Go back and double check that in a minute. They still got Carl Herrera wrong there. Nobody else updated. Oh, no. Okay, they had Tony Campbell in before. I was thinking they added Tony Campbell, but he was already in there. I got excited for no reason. They still didn't update Wayne Cooper. And that's it. Let's see. I don't think we probably have any coach updates, but Casey Jones gets his face fixed at least. All right. Now we go to 02-03. Actually, let me do two things. Let me go back to 83-84 to look at Darrell Walker. did not get updated. Okay. And then let me go over to the draft class for 99. Because what'll be interesting is if Artest got added, they should have added back in Karolinko. It doesn't look like it. Nope. No updates to the draft class because I can already tell the order of what they're in. So no update to the draft class, Carrie. That should hopefully answer your question. All right, we get over to the 0203 Kobe era rosters. I'm going to check the coaches first just to knock those out of the way. John Lucas is there. No Alvin Gentry added to the Clippers. All right, well, that's a bummer. All right, let's go back. Okay. So, let's see if I can do it like just looking at something. Just the current ratings update. Bring back the past. They added some player renders in for some of the players. Like Terry Mills got his render updated. Winston Garland, all the guys in the past. And they fixed George Johnson for the Hawks, like stuff like that. Now I'm going through the 0203 era to see players that they added to the game. Let's see. Just trying to remember who was on the teams at the top of my head just to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Okay. Chris Owens is added to the Memphis Grizzlies. He previously was not there. Was Jerome Moiso already in the game? I can't remember on that one. Jamal McGlure is added with the scan, or with an artist render, rather. So we got Jamal McGlure in 2K. Good to see that. I don't remember if Jerome Moiso was in there or not. Jerome Moiso's new. Okay. That's what I thought. I knew he was in the NBA RPA, but I couldn't remember if he was added into the game or not. I have such large lists that I put together. Like, there's tons of players that are in the NBA RPA that are not in 2K that should be. So, yeah. One thing I don't understand with Jaren Collins, him and Jayson are twins, and they could have just used the same render if they really wanted to. Still no Chris Webber. Did we get Tracy Murray? Yep, Tracy Murray has an updated render. So the ones that they put in the patch previously, they are updated now. Lumide Oyedeji is added. He's new. He's in the NBRPA, so glad to see that he's added in the game. Everybody else is the same there. Same for the Nets. Same for this Denver team is sparse. I'd love to see them get like Nicola Schidisvili. Like if they can get Donnell Harvey, Junior Harrington, like those kind of guys. in to fill this out. If they bring back the era stuff for next year, I'd love to see that. Ron Artest added here, like I mentioned earlier. Chucky Atkins. I don't remember Chucky Atkins being added to the game. Was he in previously? Anybody remember? I don't recall seeing Chucky Atkins, but it could be totally wrong. And then, if so, Chucky Atkins would need to be added to some of the classic teams as well. I don't think Chucky Atkins was in previously. Yeah, that's what I thought. Thanks, Hugo. I thought he was new. Eric Montrose on the Toronto Raptors. This is odd because Montrose did not play. So, yeah, he'd be 05, 06, and 07, 08. Right. What's odd is like Hakeem Olajuwon retired like 2 days into the season. They could have left him off the roster. And then Eric Montrose was under contract with Toronto for the 02-03 season, but he never played a game. It's just kind of odd how they add players in to fill these rosters out. Boshan Nakbar added into the game. That was a huge addition, in my opinion, to get Nakbar in. We also get Kenny Thomas with the artist render done. That one looks good, so glad to see those both in. And might be, let's see, Vladimir Radvanovich with an updated render. Okay. That Radvanovich looks good. So we got Radvanovich. That was a big piece to the team. We also got Reggie Evans with an updated render as well. He's a huge piece of this team. So two big additions to really fill out this team there. So glad to see both of those. Doesn't look like anybody else. Okay, Ruben Patterson with the updated render added to the Portland Trailblazers. So that's great to see that. So it looks like Dale Davis is the only really like big guy that like Dale Davis and Jeff McInnes. Ansu Cisse. Thank you, Hugo. I missed that one. Ansu Cisse added to Seattle. He's also in the NBRPA, so good to see him added in. Nobody additional for Golden State, and I don't think there's anybody additional. Nope. Nobody additional for Washington either. Let's go over to the free agent pool just to make sure nobody's added in. I don't think we would have that, like, players technically added, but could be wrong. We definitely have guys if you want to fill out late season rosters. Swap Jordan and Stackhouse positions now corrected. Okay. Oh, where they swap Jordan to shooting guard and yeah, it doesn't look like anybody else is added here at all. So let's look at. Yeah, the court stuff is the art team. They'll have to get a hold of that and fix it. Tail Dog. I'm going to look at the free agent pool just to double check for. Looks like all the same to me. Yeah, nothing much. But, I mean, I feel good about today's update. We got a bunch of players in that were needed, especially for the 02-03 rosters. So, I'm glad to see, like, Radmanovich and, of course, Artest and Ruben Patterson. Like those guys are significant, in my opinion, to those teams. So good to see that. Hopefully, at some point, we'll see like Mike McGee and Liddell Eccles added into the 83, 84, and then the 91, 92 rosters, respectfully. But we'll see. But at least 2K is updating them, as they can. So it looks like they will. I mean, to me, it looks like honestly they're updated. Like whenever they get like a handful of players that they can get the rights to, then they'll update the rosters. And I'm fine with that. Like get a collection of, a half dozen or whatever players you can, and update it all at once. The biggest thing I have is the gripe that I have is just be transparent. Like say, hey, look, like an update's coming in February, and then that gives them a deadline to get those players like added, like all that stuff. But then it also gives the community a known date of like, hey, play with such and such players in the Eras roster starting February 15th or whatever date they want to pick. And that would be good and transparent. But overall, a solid update, especially going into the holidays. People are picking the game up, for the first time and creating rosters, things like that. Really cool to see that some of the players that, other people had mentioned as being like Radmanovich and Patterson and stuff hidden in the game files, they were actually added now. So really highlights the art team, specifically Razor's work, what faces he was able to do. Like I assume all of them are his work. Obviously he can correct me if I'm wrong. As far as some players, obviously some of them, like you can look at and say that 2K took like the time to get their ratings and stuff in line. I'll have to dive deeper into kind of just what they updated, but overall solid updates for sure. But please, if you haven't already, if you're watching, like this video. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel as well. I try to do these updates as much as possible, as thorough as possible. I'll be putting together a lot more feedback lists over the holidays because I'll have more time to do that, and then get that over to 2K. Can't promise anything as far as updates, but can at least get that stuff over there. So hope everybody enjoyed the video. Hope everybody has a great rest of your week. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you next time.